Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and on this channel I like to talk about personal finance. I usually do my makeup on my money and makeup series, but today I wanted to do a sit down video because this is more so a reflective thing and I don't need to be moving around too much while I'm talking about this. And so today's video is going to be about healing my relationship with money. So this is kind of crazy because I never really thought up until recently that I had a bad relationship with money. I'm a budget queen. So I want to start off by saying that I did not grow up with any type of financial literacy. Unfortunately, that's something that we definitely do lack in the Black community, but it's something I taught myself along the way. The motivation for me teaching myself to be good with money and try to start saving, investing, and look at all these YouTube videos is because of fear. I had a lot of fear about money. I had a lot of anxiety about the situations that I could be in for the lack of money. That's kind of what I wanted to dive into on this video. So if you're interested in personal finance and may also have a little rocky relationship with money or not, stick around. This is not a how-to on how I'm going to conquer the world or anything like that. It's kind of like the background of how I got here, but also the steps I'm planning to take to get into a more healthy space with my relationship with money. What prompted this all is me coming to the realization that my relationship with money hasn't always come from peace. It's come from fear. Me wanting to save, me wanting to invest, me wanting to be financially stable was because of trauma. That kind of is like really where it all started for me. When I was a teenager, I had 3 deaths in my family, kind of just like sudden, and there wasn't any money to help pay for burial stuff and funeral costs. Sad as that may seem, I'm sure it's the reality for a lot of people. If you don't have life insurance, even if you do have life insurance, sometimes it takes a minute for life insurance to pay out in order for you to cover any type of funeral costs and stuff. So with that in mind, just seeing that and how my family had to deal with that, I just never wanted to be in the position of, oh, I can't pay for this. That's where I decided, hey, I'm going to start saving my money. I was one of them people in college where I would get a refund check and go to the mall every single weekend. And hindsight 2020, I should not have been doing that, but I was a youth. I did not know better. I did not think about the fact that like later on in life, I'm going to have to repay them loans. But yeah, I wasn't responsible with my money as a college student. I didn't grow up learning anything about money. The way that I was taught was that credit cards are the devil, which we know is not true. You can utilize credit to your advantage if you choose to, and I know that now, but that's what something I was taught about money. What else was I taught about money? Why am I thinking and nothing comes to mind? Make sure you pay your bills first. I did learn that. I learned to make sure I pay my bills first. But there was not a lot of lessons in my household about money. And that combined with the fact that I am from a broken home. So I do have my dad in my life. I have my mom in my life. But with that, you hear different perspectives from both your parents, which is fine. There was no cohesive lesson on you need to do this, and this, and then you'll be financially straight. I feel like I'm rambling. So over the series of my teenage years and throughout the beginning of college, I experienced a couple of deaths in the family. And with that, there was unexpected costs that came with that were not covered and kind of put my family in position to make some tough choices. And that really gave me a lot of anxiety outside of finances, but with finances as well. It gave me anxiety that I'm waiting on the next bad thing to happen. And it really created something for me that I still am dealing with to this day. I have that anxiety where I'm just like anticipating for the next bad thing to happen. And so that kind of fed into my anxiety around money, where it's like, okay, well, if I'm waiting for the next bad thing to happen, I need to be saving for the next bad thing to happen. And that's what kickstarted my journey. That's what kickstarted my financial journey, is just like the fear that something bad was going to happen and I wouldn't be able to pay for it, and I needed to be able to pay for it. And so that really drove my trek into the financial world. That's when I hopped on YouTube and was like, okay, I got to learn some things. But anyway, I graduated in 2019, and then I started my first job in 2019, and then 2020 COVID hits. The anxiety gets worser. The anxiety gets worser. I'm like so stressed out that my family is going to get sick and die. And that really put me in a position to where like, oh, you really need to be saving, girl. And so that's when I started budgeting. I started budgeting on a planner. I think it's like an A6 planner. And I was writing out every single budget for every single paycheck. Mind you, at the time, I was only getting paid $900 every 2 weeks, but I was living with my mom. So I had very low expenses, and it really prompted me to just save as much as I could. And while I was saving, I was still trying to keep my expenses low and trying to just invest and save as much as possible, because I knew that the robbery was gonna get me. And I don't know if y'all get that reference. It's like an Alice in Wonderland reference where you're on a high, cloud nine, and then the other shoe drops and like a bad thing happens. And so yeah, like I was just always waiting for the next bad thing to happen. Even now, I'm on a high, like I'm doing good in life. I'm always thinking about, oh, well, what if I lose the job, or who's gonna die next? It's honestly kind of sad. And I think that's the thing that I need to work on first, is the root of the problem. So the root of the problem is me having that anxiety and that fear that something bad is going to happen. I watch Aaliyah's Face on here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She's like a lifestyle type of vlogger, but she said that her therapist told her that she doesn't have to wait for the next bad thing to happen, and that good times could just be the norm. And that really stuck with me. It made me feel like, dang, I need to go see a therapist. Because that's something I struggle with, is feeling like these good times can't last forever, and just like having that constant tense feeling of like, I can't relax because I gotta be prepared for whatever bad thing is gonna happen next. And that really just carried over into other parts of my life, like we see with my finances. The reason I was able to save, I think, 65K between my savings and investments was because I'm scared. Like, I'm scared that one day I'll need it. And I just don't think that's like the healthiest thing. And I didn't really realize it until I was journaling one day and came to this realization that, yeah, my financial relationship with money is really based out of fear. I'm not gonna make it seem like this is like a completely bad thing, because that anxiety that I had around money, it built discipline for me. I'm a very disciplined person in the fact that I budget every single paycheck, and I stick to my budget. I don't play. If I don't have the money to do something outside of what my budget allows, it's not happening. But I feel like this has also led into some other consequences. But to speak on the positive, I will say that I'm a very disciplined person financially, because of the fact that I have this anxiety around money. But it kind of also has fed a guilt into where I feel like I can't have higher expenses, or I can't do things that I want to do because I need to be saving my money, or I need to be preparing. So that is one thing that I want to work on. And I'm not going to make it seem like I don't do nothing and I'm just strictly saving. No, I love to travel. That's one thing I love to do. And I'm saving to travel soon. I got 2 trips, one in December and one in January coming up. So it's not like I'm not doing the things I want to do, but I do feel guilty when I do it. I feel guilty about the fact that I'm going on these 2 trips, and I feel guilty about the fact that I'm spending money, so much money, on things that doesn't really feed into my financial goals. So I do want to get to more of a healthy place where I'm not feeling guilty to spend money on things that I can't afford, because it's not like I'm going into debt to do these things. Although I know I should be paying my student loans, and I will when they start asking me for the money, but they ain't asked me for the money yet. So I'm just gonna hand it over. I will start paying them eventually. So I don't feel guilty about that. That's one thing I don't feel guilty about. I was a young, dumb teenager when I agreed to that. And so I'm also realizing now that more than anything, with the saving and investing and just trying to make sure that I secured my future, I was really searching for a sense of emotional security that would calm the anxiety and make me just not feel like the other shoe is about to drop all the time. But I am now realizing that financial security does not guarantee emotional security, unfortunately. That's just not going to be the case. There's other work that needs to be done. Now I'm in a position where I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this work to solve this problem of my weird relationship with money. Because I'm not even going to say it's a bad relationship. Like, no, I wouldn't say that, but I don't want to be feeling anxious about spending money when I have the money to spend. I tied money to emotional security, and I need to figure out a way to untangle that because they are separate. I don't need to be trying to save money in order to make myself feel emotionally secure. And so now I'm doing some research and some learning for myself, just like through online resources and watching YouTube videos. I am discovering that money can be a tool for joy and not just survival. I'm really trying to work on a way to heal those anxieties and fears that I have through therapy and also through medication. I do have a psychiatrist appointment this week actually to try to maybe help with that, because my anxiety is pretty bad. And it sucks to say that because I didn't used to always be this anxious. But somewhere along the way, it just crept up. I have anxiety in every area of my life, and I really need to work on it. And I think once I work on that and get that kind of in order, it will definitely trickle down into my finances. I want to be in a better place as far as being able to be secure about making purchases, not feeling guilty. So I'm going to read some of the things that I wrote down in my journal that are the mindset shifts that I'm aiming for. So I'm going to be treating myself without anxiety. So if I want a little coffee, I ain't gonna feel bad about wanting a little coffee. I can afford it. I shouldn't feel that bad about it. Obviously, everything's about self-control and moderation. So I'm going to keep that in mind. So the next mindset shift that I'm going to be working on is letting savings represent peace instead of fear of loss. So I want my savings to just like be a reassuring thing more so than you're saving for the next bad thing. I want my savings to be comforting in a way that, oh, I have this here in case something happens, instead of I have this here for when something happens, because good can be my normal. That's the goal. And then my next mindset shift that I'm working on is building self-trust with money instead of control. I need to be able to trust myself that I'm going to spend my money how it should be spent instead of feeling like it controls me, like my budget controls me, because it doesn't. I control the budget. And then one thing I wrote down was healing my relationship with money doesn't mean I stop budgeting. It just means I stop budgeting from fear. So that's something that I really want to stick to as we end this year, because I want to go into the new year with a fresh mindset related to money. So yeah, if you've ever felt like money has given you control but not peace, you're not alone in that. That's something I'm definitely struggling with, as we see from this video. I know there has to be somebody else out there who relates to having their money habits come from fear or survival, and I feel like it just doesn't need to be that way. You know, we definitely can make some changes, and I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do the work, and hopefully I'll be able to heal those anxieties and maybe be able to develop a better relationship with money overall. But that's pretty much all I want to talk about today. Thank you guys for listening to me yap about that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.